Welcome to Islamic Life Coach School Podcast. Apply tools that you learn in this podcast and your life will be unrecognizably successful. Now your host, Dr. Kamal Akhtar.
Hello everyone. Peace and blessings be upon all of you. Manuals are rule books on how other people should behave in order for us to feel better. Today we're going to be talking about manuals. We delegate our emotional life to another person's behavior. A manual is a coaching concept, which basically means that we have created an instruction book for someone else explaining how they should act. And if they don't follow that instruction book, then we feel frustrated, discouraged, and betrayed. It's basically a life coaching term that I use to see if clients are creating their own misery in relationships. Husband should take out the trash. He should attend all family gatherings. Teenagers should not get angry at us. Siblings should not ask us for money. In-laws should not come over unannounced. These are all manuals that we have created for other people, so when they follow them, we can feel better. Let me tell you something, guys. Nobody follows your manual. Nobody wants to follow it. It's about another human being's perception of giving up their own freedom and autonomy. They will never give up that freedom, no matter how much they love you. Human beings are wired to pursue their own independent thinking and their own line of reasoning. When we come with an instruction manual and tell them to do something according to our expectations, the other person will immediately object. You've questioned their integrity and you've doubted their ability to make their own decisions. That will not land well, no matter how well intended your manual is. Nobody responds well to this type of request. But in turn, we will always think that we're being reasonable with these expectations and they seem normal to us, but they are not reasonable to the other person. Imagine that happening to you. You should put on more makeup so you look nicer at parties. You should work out more. You should take cooking classes so you can improve your cooking. Those are all somebody else's manuals for you. They don't feel good, do they? I mean, if somebody else told me to put makeup on just so I could look nice, I'd be like, excuse me? Regardless if it's a manual for you or you have a manual for somebody else, in each case, it's instructions for the other person to perform an action, so it will make easier for you to think positive thoughts about them. You're telling yourself at some level that if they could just please follow this instruction, my emotional life would be so much easier and I would really appreciate it. Usually the relationship narrative that we're fed is make a list of all of your needs and your spouse is supposed to fulfill those needs. This is a setup for disaster because we're responsible for fulfilling our own needs, and when we are in a relationship where the other person expects us to fulfill their needs, then we are in a situation where not only do we have to take care of ourselves, we have to take care of the other person. This is especially true for women, where they're taught that the whole purpose of their life is to serve others and meet their needs. Especially girls growing up are taught that they're supposed to meet all the needs of their spouse. If you want to wholeheartedly, consciously choose to do that, please, by all means, go ahead. But if you're doing that because that is what is expected, you're acting to fulfill someone else's manual, and in turn, creating a manual of your own to be followed. This is a tight, manipulating situation. So imagine you asking your husband to take out the trash and he doesn't do it, and you asked for the 10th time and you feel frustrated. Even if he does do it a few times just for your nagging to stop, he will be in resentment because that's not something he wanted to do. Then on top of that, we might complain that he was doing it because we wanted him to do it. You want him to want to do it. That's a whole new level of control. The guy doesn't want to do it. What can you do? Your manual that he should want to do it doesn't make him want it. He wants what he wants, which is not taking out the trash. Now your brain might be offering you that it would be nice if he took out the trash and he did his portions of the work around the house. It would be nice if he did that for me. It would tell me that he loves me and it supports me. Let me tell you, this is a thought error. This is a story that your brain has made up based on your previous experiences and conditioning. When you create a manual for what he should be doing to help you, just so you could feel better, you've disempowered yourself. You have handed him keys to your emotions. If the other person follows your manual, you've decided that they love me, they respect me, and then you get to feel good. And when they don't follow your manual, we make it mean something quite negative, and we feel bad about ourselves. We don't take responsibility for our feelings because we have given all of that away to the other person not following the manual. Another level of fascination to me is when we want other people to know what our manuals are without ever even telling them what we want. That is like a whole other level of misery we've created for ourselves. So like in this case, the manual is, husband should take out the trash or he should come home on time. In the meanwhile, you've never really shared that information with him. He doesn't know that that's what he has to do in order for you to feel better about the relationship. Plus, the story that your brain is telling you is that he should just know that that is what is expected. Maybe that's based on your upbringing. Maybe that's how things were done around your house growing up. Then you've inadvertently assumed that he should know these things. Really, guys? Really? First, not only you've created a standard operating procedure for your husband, on top of that, you don't even share this with him. Your husband doesn't even have a chance to follow it because he doesn't know what it is. And on top of that, you've allocated all of your emotional control to this unsaid request. Oh my God, don't do that to yourself. In this case, your husband's inactions do not cause your misery. Your thoughts about it do. Thoughts might be, trash must be taken out. Trash piling up in the house is nasty. I want a tidy house. It would be nice if he could just help me around the house. Or something like that. If that's the story you're going with, that's fine. But just notice your thoughts are the cause here, not the circumstance of the trash or the husband. You will find a lot of people to agree with your thoughts. That trash should be taken out and piling up trash is nasty. That might include me. I would agree with that. But I would never agree that the trash is causing you to feel miserable. I would never disempower you like that. Notice that there might be other ways that the trash can be cleaned out without being totally disempowered. When you create a manual for someone, you've assigned expectations to them in a way that if they don't fulfill the expectations, you'll be upset, sad, or angry. If you do that, you've totally left your zone of empowerment. You've handed your emotional state to a circumstance, and as you'll notice, that is not a fun place to be. In cases like this, we are expecting control over things we have absolutely no control over, and we're wasting our precious time and energy. All of the effort that goes into manuals is wasted energy because we have no control over anything other than our thoughts. The manuals can be extremely well justified and can come from extremely sincere, loving intentions. It is still a manual, a subconscious tool that misplaces your power. It transfers your power from your thoughts to someone else's actions, which you have no control over. Like I mentioned before, trash can go out many other ways. You can take out the trash. You can hire someone to take out the trash. You can also have the option to just leave it there. I know that sounds very foreign to you, but stay with me. If taking out a trash is that big of a deal for you, and the thought work that ensues is too much, then just leave it there. Really, it's fine. Trash piling up is not worth giving up your sanity for. For me, giving up manuals for others has been the most life-changing experience, and it applies to every relationship, including boss, siblings, friends, children. It is especially difficult for us to give up manuals for our children, because most of their lives they've been dependent on us for their survival, and all of a sudden one day they start to form their own opinion. And once that tiny human being discovers that they have a free will, oh boy, do they use it every chance they get. One of the first words that toddlers learn is no. No to vegetables, no to sitting in a car seat, no to changing, no to shower. That is a toddler experiencing autonomy and free will for the first time. They really take that word no to the next level. Now here I will take some time to describe a difference between a manual and an expectation. There is an important difference. Manual is when we expect someone else to act a certain way and we have our feelings attached to their actions. An expectation is making a request of people and not tying your emotional life to it. Expectations without emotional attachment to the outcome is a liberating skill to learn. That is applicable in every relationship, but most importantly with your kids or as a boss with your employees. Telling your kids the expectation is for them to clean their room and put their dishes in the sink, and if they don't do that, there will be consequences. And telling your employees what is expected of them at work and outlining the consequences without having your feelings hurt. These types of expectations are a normal part of any relationship. Influencing someone else to take action according to your expectation is a leadership skill, and we will talk more about that in later podcasts. I'm asking you to drop your manual for others, not to drop your requests and expectations of the relationship. You can make all the requests you want. You can ask your friend to show up for a play date on time. You can ask your husband to be home for dinner and be there for all family gatherings. You can make all the requests from as many people as you want. It's when you attach your emotional happiness to the outcomes of these requests is when you get in trouble. Then you'll be banging your head into manipulating them out of frustration. That is when you fuel the fire of negativity that a lot of us are stuck in as a relationship. So expectation without emotional attachment to the outcome is a healthy part of any relationship. A manual is detrimental because you've subconsciously assigned your emotional well-being to someone else's actions, and that leads to manipulative behavior on your part. That makes you look like a crazy person. Let's start by acknowledging that we have manuals for everyone. Those are the expectations we hold that might not be serving us. The truth is, most of us don't even have mastery of our own thoughts to be able to control and manage our emotions. But we are quick to justify control and managing other people. That is a recipe for disaster. When you identify your manual for another person, find out what expectation you have from that person. If they are not meeting it, then what is it that you're making it mean? Then ask yourself, where is that stemming from? Why is that behavior so important to you? The answers to these questions will be enlightening. And almost 100% of the time, the answer that I find with my clients is that we are under the illusion that we can control others. Our intellectual, intelligent, conscious brain will tell us that we know that we cannot control them. But yet we continue to act in controlling ways. So start identifying your manuals and bring them to awareness. This will bring you liberation from being in emotional manipulation of others. Figure out exactly why you want someone else to change their behavior. With what you've learned on this podcast, the most common case scenario is that humans try to change things outside of them because they think that the change will help them feel better. We have manuals for others because if they acted exactly like we expect them to, then it will help us feel better. And if they don't, then we will feel terrible. Universally, people only want to change their circumstance because they just want to feel differently. But that is the biggest error of all because that is not how things work. We feel because of our thoughts, not because of our circumstances. We have been conditioned growing up that if your spouse behaves a certain way, that it must mean that they love us. So based on someone else's behavior, it becomes easier for us to think that they love us because these thoughts have been conditioned and are well practiced. They seem like facts. They are a 0 on a thought work scale. But when your spouse doesn't behave according to your manual, the thought work becomes really burdensome. I had believed all my life that a romantic date every Friday with my husband means that he loves me. I was not ready to question this. I always thought that this was a fact. When we didn't go for a date every Friday, I was absolutely miserable. When I decided I did not want to be miserable because of something that I had no control over, I had to face thought work that was really difficult. It was about questioning my beliefs and breaking my old patterns of thinking. But regardless of the difficulty, my friends, this is the work. Once I did the work, I realized that relationships can mean a lot of things other than a Friday night date. I was causing my own misery because of a repeated thought pattern. Spend your energy in breaking beliefs that don't serve you and building beliefs that do. rather than spending your valuable energy into creating manuals and getting other people to change their behavior just so you can feel better about a situation. That is wasted energy. Nothing outside of you is under your control, especially other people. If you're going to spend some energy, do it on thought work, where it actually makes a difference in taking control of your life. Controlling others will be perceived as manipulation and will be met with resentment, and it is a sure way to create distance in a relationship. If you want a true, genuine connection with another human being, give them the right to be themselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given that right to every human being. We have the ultimate freedom. We even have the freedom to disobey Allah. Can you imagine? He created us for His worship, and then He gave us the freedom to not worship. That is mind-boggling. May Allah protect us from being in a state of disobedience. Keeping that in mind, here we are creating instruction manuals for others' behaviors just so they can fit our preconceived notions of the best version of a person, so that it becomes easier for us to love them and we can feel better about ourselves. Love comes from your thoughts, not from the other person's actions. Your feelings come from you, not from anything outside of you. If you're in a space where you're telling yourself that you're just trying to create the best possible life for everyone, and you know what's good for everyone, but for some reason you're always met with frustration, I urge you to explore your manuals. What instructions are you expecting other people to follow in order for you to feel better? I pray that you find your way out of this frustration and into unconditional acceptance of all of the people in your life. Unconditional acceptance does not mean that you agree with what everyone else is doing. It just means that you accept them for what they're doing and for who they are. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for us to do this work, that Allah helps us keep in focus the things we cannot control. I pray that Allah makes it possible for me to present this work to you in a way that it's effective in creating a lasting change so that we can find success in this world and the next. I will talk to you guys next time.
If you're interested in getting coached by me, I'm offering a very affordable opportunity to do that with Wisdom Wednesdays. This is not a course, not a lecture. This is an opportunity for live coaching, real change with Islamic adab and etiquette. You do not need more information. You actually need a space to create change. At $19.99 a month, which is the price of takeout dinner, you as a Muslim woman will create confidence, intimacy, and connection without shame or fear of judgment, because your privacy is my highest priority. So join at www.islamiclifecoachschool.com, resources, Wisdom Wednesdays. I'll see you inside, inshallah.